Hello everyone, this is Grandmaster Damian Lemos here for iChess. Welcome to this new video where we'll be talking about the Queen's Gambit Declined. And we'll see this defense happens after d4. As black, we play d5. And here white plays c4. This is the Queen's Gambit. As black, we need to make a decision how to continue after c4. And here we have some options. We can decline the gambit with e6. We are not accepting it, and this is what we will see in this video. We can accept the gambit, that is d takes c4, Queen's Gambit accepted, or we can also play other moves such as c6, and this is known as the Slav defense. So let's understand the ideas behind this way of thinking. White plays the move c4. The Queen's Gambit has an idea for white, and it is a simple one. He wants to deviate our pawn from d5. As you can see right from the move 1, as black we play d5 and we control key squares in the center. Here, for instance, we control the e4 square. So white plays c4, he's sacrificing a pawn, but what he's looking for is the center. Imagine we take, this is the Queen's Gambit accepted. First of all, he can get the pawn back by playing moves like Queen a4 check, and then he takes the pawn on c4, but most important, he can also play a move like this. This move wasn't possible before, but now it is. He occupies the center, and he's also likely to get the pawn back at some point. So that is, as I was saying, the main idea when white plays the Queen's Gambit. He wants to deviate our pawn from the center, and then he wants to occupy it by means of e4. As black, we have to support the pawn on d5 by means of e6 or c6. If we play something else, imagine we play a move like knight f6, we develop a piece, that's true, but this move has some drawbacks, because now white gets rid of our pawn on d5, and then we no longer have a center. If we play knight takes, he can try playing e4. If we play queen takes, he can play a move like knight c3, and again we are having some issues because we have to move the queen again. He's likely to play e4. He has a much better center, so that's why once he plays c4, we need to support the pawn on d5. When I say support, I'm talking about using another pawn. So c6 is an option. This is known as the Slav defense, or e6, the Queen's Gambit Declined. Both moves are okay, and I mean, they are very good actually, both. The thing is, once we play c6 or e6, we are ready to retake on d5 with a pawn. So if white plays this move, well, we don't have to take with the queen, we just take with the pawn, and we are still controlling the center. The same happens in the Slav. We play c6, now if white takes, we just take back with the c6 pawn, and again we have full control of the center. So, in other words, we need to keep a pawn on d5, and if we do it, then we control the center. That's basic stuff from the opening rules. And I like the Queen's Gambit Declined. We don't accept the gambit, we support the center, and we are also ready to finish our development very soon. We can make simple moves like knight f6, bishop e7. In some lines the bishop can also go to b4 with check, but I like the simple bishop e7, I kingside castle, and then I continue my development on the queen side. So usually white here, he plays knight c3 or knight to f3 as well. We have a lot of move orders. We play knight to f6, And here, an interesting move by white. He develops the bishop. This is an important move in this line, because if he plays a move like e3, it's okay. This bishop is going out. However, bishop c1 is stuck inside the pawn chain. So this is supposed to be passive for white. Instead, if he plays this move first, well, he's pinning our knight, and then he can play e3 afterwards, and his bishop is outside the pawn chain. So that is the main difference. Also, white, he can try playing a move like rook c1 later. So bishop g5, and as black here, I recommend the simple bishop to e7. I mean, getting rid of the pin, preparing to castle kingside. This move is just fine. We can also think about moves like d takes c4, although we know taking the pawn on c4 is not what we are looking for, because first of all, he can get the pawn back with queen a4, we know that, and second of all, he can always try moves like e4, and we no longer have a center when we take the pawn on c4, so we need to be careful about this move. And first of all, we need to finish our development as black. So bishop e7 is a fine and safe move to play.
Buying individual chess courses to add to your collection can get expensive, and waiting for the course or video you're looking for to go on sale can take weeks or even months. So, what's a chess enthusiast to do? Introducing the iChess Club, an exclusive community of chess enthusiasts that enjoy a wild range of benefits, including a permanent 40% discount on virtually all chess courses on our shop. Yes, 40% on all items anytime. But wait, there's more. For those of you who like physical DVDs, we offer unlimited free shipping on all items, anywhere in the world, anytime. You'll also get access to the entire iChess.club library, where we post over a dozen exclusive new videos every month. Our lineup of presenters is of much higher quality than anything you can find on YouTube, with exclusive videos by Simon Williams, Damian Lemos, Valerie Lilov, Brian Smith, Eric Rosen you can't find anywhere else, and even private appearances by world's top grandmasters such as Anatoly Karpov, Judith Polgar, Susan Polgar, and more. There are dozens of other benefits as well, such as an additional 5% off all items already on sale, a free 30-minute preview of every single product in our shop, and the ability to purchase items at the sale price up to 30 days after the sale has ended. There are so many benefits we can't possibly list them all in this video. So, join the iChess Club community today and start saving. Joining is easy and you can cancel at any time. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up today.
In this position, by the way, after bishop g5, we have another nice move to play as black, and this is actually a trick. We can play knight bd7. This move, we are developing a piece, we are connecting knights, so this is also supposed to be good. But what I like about this move is that we are putting in a trap. If he takes on d5, we take with the pawn. This is usually a good sign for us, because once white takes on d5 and we retake, then bishop c8 has an open diagonal. But here is where the trick comes. White is pinning the knight on f6, so a lot of players take on d5. And it looks like white is winning a pawn, because if we take the knight, then he takes our queen. But here is where the trick comes, and knight takes d5 is possible. He takes our queen, obviously. And here, instead of taking the bishop on d8, we have this powerful move as black, bishop to b4 check. And now white, he has no choice but to play queen d2, there's no other move. We take it, king takes d2, and king takes d8. At the end of the day, we see black has an extra piece, and of course this is more than enough to win the game. So this is one of the traps we have in this line. Knight bd7. White, of course, he can take once, and after this he can play something else. Knight takes d5 is definitely losing, as we saw. This is a well-known trick in the Queen's Gambit Declined, but here, as I said, he can take once, and then he can play something else, and the game goes on. But it is good to play this move order, because you give your opponent a chance to make a mistake. If we play bishop e7, which is the main move, well, the game continues, but white is not gonna make any obvious mistake yet. Because if he takes on d5, sure, we take with the pawn, and white, he doesn't have any sacrifice yet. He doesn't have knight takes d5. So he's gonna just play a quiet move. If we play this, well, he might fall in the knight takes d5 variation. So after this, now, as you know, this is a possibility, so is bishop e7. Let me show you a bit at the main line after bishop e7. White, he plays knight f3. As I said, he can also take on d5. This happens from time to time. The thing is, once he takes on d5, our bishop has a new diagonal. If he keeps the pawn on c4, then we need to think about bishop's c8 development. So white prefers to not to take on d5 yet. So knight to f3. And here I like h6. We can also castle, that's another well-known move, but h6 first has some pluses, and one of them is we are putting white to a decision, whether to keep his bishop pair or to take the knight on f6. It is good to put your opponent to the test right from the get-go. That's why I like this move h6. And it's also good for our kingside castle to advance the pawn there. We know this bishop is powerful, we know at some point he can try jumping with the knight. So with this move we are not weakening our kingside at all. So after h6, as I was saying, he has to make a decision, and most of white players, apart from taking, most of them, they play bishop to h4. Yeah, I mean, they need to keep the bishop on this diagonal. Otherwise, there's no point in playing bishop g5. He could have played something like bishop f4. I mean, if he wants to go back to f4, then there's no point in playing this move. He can play this in one step. So here, bishop e7, knight f3, h6. This is, as I was saying, the main move. Taking on f6, this is also possible, of course, but the thing is, white needs to play carefully, because he offers the bishop pair, and it doesn't sound relevant yet, but as the game advances, the bishop pair is a dangerous weapon to have, and black has the bishop pair in this position. We know these two bishops, they are going to be very good if that position opens. So as I was saying, white needs to be extremely careful not to fall in a worse position. So bishop h4, I think this is the most flexible move white has. He can take on f6 later, but for the time being, he keeps his pair of bishops. And here, once he plays bishop h4, we castle. First of all, we castle, we put our king into safety, and then we think about moves like d takes c4, or finishing our queenside development as well. Again, we know this move is risky. This is not part of our strategy yet, because we allow moves like e4 or even e3, followed by bishop takes c4, and as black, we no longer have control of the center, so before doing stuff like this, we castle, and then once we have everything developed on the king side, we can think about doing stuff on the queen side or center. White usually plays e3, and here comes one of my favorite variations in the Queen's Gambit Declined, b6. This is also known as the Tartakower variation, or Tartakower. I don't know how to pronounce this, depending on the language. I used to say Tartakower, but in English it might be different. b6 is a very solid move by black, and we have a simple idea as well, to play bishop b7 and keep on developing our pieces. So here white has a lot of approaches. He can take on d5, he can also develop his bishop on f1 and castle kingside. Let me show you some possibilities here. I don't want to show you specific variations. I want to show you plans and ideas, and that is much better. When you study a positional line like this, where we have every single piece on board, it is much better to understand the plans rather than memorizing variations. So white, he can take on d5. Here we have two options, taking with the pawn or taking with the knight, and usually I prefer taking with the knight because we are trading a couple of pieces off, as you can see. And also if I take with the knight, I still hope to open this diagonal at some point. If I take with the pawn, which is also possible, and a lot of players play like this, this is also good because I control the center, but this diagonal is closed. So if I take with the knight, as I was saying, I still have some chances of keeping this diagonal open. So white, he can take on e7. This is one of the main lines. Now, for instance, if I play this move, then I can play bishop b7, knight d7 and c5, and I like my position as black. Or after bishop takes e7, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes e7, I can also take with the queen, developing the rest of my pieces, also trying to play something like rook d8. That would be nice because the rook is on the same file as the queen. He can take, and as you can see now, the b7 h1 diagonal is closed. Okay, black has some counter chances like c5, the bishop. I can still develop the bishop on this diagonal. And I also have a strong center. I have the pawn on d5, I can play c5. So usually the game continues something like bishop here. As black, I can put my bishop on e6, super solid bishop. And as you can see, my position as black is very good. I have a good center, I have good pieces, and a good development as well. This is one of the 100 lines we have in the Queen's Gambit Declined. So after b6, white, he's not forced to take on d5. He can play a move like bishop e2 or bishop d3. And here's the point. If he moves the bishop to d3 or e2, suppose, let's say he plays bishop d3, now I can take on c4. And here we have a difference. We take because he's wasting a move to take on c4. He just played bishop d3, and now he plays bishop takes c4. He's taking on c4 in 2 steps instead of 1. Here, for instance, when we play b6, if we take on c4, this would be a huge mistake, because then he plays bishop takes in 1 step. So he's winning a move. If we play b6, if we wait till he plays bishop d3, now we take on c4, bishop takes, and as you can see in this position, we have an extra move as black. I mean, it's not like the greatest advantage, but it is an advantage, and white wasted a move to take on c4. So, especially as black, this has to represent something. I mean, winning a move in the opening is a lot. Believe it or not, is in a step closer to equalizing as black. So after b6, well, nevertheless, white plays bishop d3. He has to, because he has to castle, so he plays it. I can take on c4. He takes, I play bishop b7. He castles. And then I can play a simple move like knight b to d7. All my pieces are out. As you can see, my development is good. It's easy to understand. I got rid of the pin. My bishop on b7 is very powerful. In the future, I can even consider attacking as black. And the only thing I need to improve as black is my queen's position. My queen is on d8, and once I move my queen, then I can also connect my rooks. So I'm just one step away from fixing my opening issues as black. And I say opening issues because, as you probably know, as black in the opening, we think about equalizing first. Once we equalize, then we can think about getting an advantage. So let's say he plays, this is not the best move, by the way, he can play other moves, but just to show an example of what could happen if a3, I can think about moves like c5, hopefully a6 and d5 as well, winning and gaining a lot of space on the queen side. Or I can even think about moves like knight to e4. Why not? I keep on trading pieces, and once my queen leaves the d8 square, then I can also bring my rooks into the game. So once I play like this, have no weaknesses, all of my pieces are in good squares, and I can also think about playing a move like c5. So this is basically the main idea when we play the Queen's Gambit Declined. Just to summarize, we play e6 on second move, we support the center, then we play knight f6, the bishop goes to e7, even if white doesn't pin, even if he doesn't play this move pinning the knight on f6, I can still play bishop e7. Remember this trap. By the way, this trap is very good, knight bd7. Here, yeah, if this, knight takes, and bishop b4, this is a good trap, and hopefully most of your opponents are falling into this trap, but if they don't, then you just continue with bishop e7 and kingside castle. But okay, as I was saying, even if white doesn't play this pin with bishop g5, you can still play bishop e7, h6. This is a move that works very well in this position because we attack his bishop, we win a move, and after this we castle, and usually we try, once kingside is developed, we try developing our pieces on the queen side, b6, bishop b7, sometimes taking on c4, and then trying to play a6 plus b5. That's another plan you can find in positions like this, but what I like is the simple b6 and bishop b7. Depending on that position, the knight goes to c6 or d7, but in most scenarios it goes to d7 to protect the other knight, and c5 is also part of our strategy. This is a good way of facing the Queen's Gambit because we are playing with a solid foundation, we are not going crazy in the opening, and we are doing everything correctly to equalize in the opening. And remember that once you equalize, you also have the chance of fighting for the advantage with a solid position. So that's all for this video. I hope you found this useful. I hope you could learn something. Also, in the link below the video, you'll find more information about this line. So, as I was saying, I hope you found this useful. And I want to see you guys in my next videos as well. Thank you.